Good morning, all. So yesterday already we have started this vane type compressor, this working principle and mechanism of this vane type compressor already we have discussed yesterday, and we have done a derivation or efficiency of a vane type compressor. Okay, so this is the efficiency calculation formula for a vane type compressor. Okay, so this is the PV diagram. Here in two process we are doing the work done. This is first is process 1 to process 2. This is one compression process, which one is adiabatic or isentropic one, where we are following the equation PV to the power gamma equal to constant. Okay, so here we are getting one work done. Suppose we are getting W2. Suppose here the work done is W2, and here again from process 2 to process 3. Here at constant volume, one more work done we are doing, that is W1. Okay, now what is the formula of W1? Since process 2 to process 3, it is a constant volume process. So work done during the process at constant volume W1 equal to V2 whole into P3 plus P2. Okay, this is constant volume. So volume at 0.2 is equal to volume at 0.3. This 2 to 3, this straight line indicates constant volume line. Here the volume is V2. Okay, so V2 into what is the pressure difference? The lowest pressure is P2 and highest pressure is P3. So P3 minus P2. This is one work done at constant volume process. And the second work done, that is from 0.1 to 0.2. Okay, PV to the power gamma equal to constant. The second work done is gamma by gamma minus 1 P1 V1 whole into P2 by P1 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma minus 1. Okay, so here for this diagram, this one I have taken W1, this one I have taken W2. You can take this as W1 and this process as W2 also, no problem. Okay, so because the final efficiency formula is for this vane type compressor, work input at constant volume means this work 0.2 to 0.3 divided by total work input W1 plus W2. Okay, so individually first we have to calculate W1, we have to calculate W2. Okay, then if we will take the ratio, that is work input at constant volume divided by total work input, then we will get our answer. Okay, so this derivation yesterday we have done related to efficiency of vane type compressor. So in today's class we are going to do one problem related to this vane type compressor. Okay. So here is the question. Actually, they have never asked any problem from this vane type compressor, but still some problems we will do, so that if this kind of problem will come in the exam, you will not get any trouble. So first we will write down the given data. The question is calculate the power required to run the vane compressor. Okay, the first thing is we have to calculate the power required or work input to run the compressor. This is one point we have to calculate, and its efficiency. Okay, so efficiency of vane type compressor also we have to calculate. The two things we have to calculate. First thing is power required. Power required is nothing but work done per second. This is one point we have to calculate, and second point is we have to calculate the efficiency also. Now what is given? It handles 6 meter cube of air per minute. Can you say what is this thing they have given? What is this 6 meter cube of air per minute? Whether it is mass flow rate or it is volume flow rate. Yes, it is volume flow rate. Okay, because the unit is 6 meter cube per minute. So volume flow rate. So initial volume V1 equal to 6 meter cube per minute. Initial volume means better we will plot the PV diagram for this vane type compressor, so that you can understand which one is V1, which one is V2 I am talking about. This is pressure axis, this is volume axis. As suction where it takes place. This is 0.0. This is 0.1. Then one work done we will get during this adiabatic compression process. This is 0.1, and so this will be our 0.2. Here we have the relation PV to the power gamma equal to constant. Then from 0.2 to 0.3, we are getting one more work done, that is constant volume work done. Okay, so here we have the intermediate pressure, and here we have the highest pressure. Okay, so in this line, suppose the highest pressure is P3, here the pressure is P2, the lowest pressure is P1. Okay, so at the what is this telling? The question is it handles 6 meter cube of air per minute. Okay, so initial volume at this point, the volume V1. Okay, so V1 equal to 6 meter cube per minute. So always we have to convert this into second. So 6 divided by 1 minute is 60 seconds. So we will get 6 by 60 means it will 0.1 by 10, 0.1. We will get 0.1 meter cube per second. Okay, so volume flow rate we have got 0.1 meter cube per second. Next, from 1 bar to 2.2 bar. Okay, so one pressure is given 1 bar, one more pressure it is given 2.2 bar. So now you will get confused whether this 2.2 bar is P2 or P3, because we have three pressure. One is P1, one is P2, one is P3. Here it is what it is telling, it handles 6 meter cube of air per minute from 1 bar to 2.2 bar. So now this 1 bar, easily we can say 1 bar is nothing but P1. But what about this 2.2 bar? You can say it is P2, somebody can say it is P3, because two pressures are there. This P2, this is the intermediate pressure, this P3, this is one more highest pressure. Suppose we don't know this 2.2 bar represents P2 or P3. Okay, now we'll proceed. The pressure rise due to the compression in the compressor is limited to 1.6, is given 1.6 bar. Okay, so three pressures are given. One pressure is 1 bar, one more pressure is 2.2 bar, and one more pressure we have 1.6 bar. So if we will see here P1, P3, P1, P2 and P3. So P3 is the highest pressure. P1 will be the lowest pressure. And this P2 should be lies in between P3 and P1. Yes or no? This P3 is the highest pressure. P1 is the lowest pressure, and this P2 will lies in between P3 and P1. So this relation we can say P3 is the highest one, P1 is the lowest one, and P2 should be less than P3 and it will be greater than P1. It is the intermediate pressure. Now this value simply we will assign here. Okay, so if you cannot identify the pressure, then in this way, once again I have to write. Here the lowest pressure is P1, the intermediate pressure is P2, the highest pressure is P3. So in this question, first thing is we have to calculate the power. Second thing is we have to calculate the efficiency, fan efficiency. These are the two things we have to calculate over here. What is given? One pressure is 1 bar. Second pressure is 2.2 bar. And one more pressure we have 1.6 bar. Okay. And from this diagram we have seen P3 is the highest one, P1 is the lowest pressure, and P2 will lies in between P1 and P3. Okay. So which one is lowest pressure among 1 bar, 2.2 bar and 1.6 bar? 1 bar is the lowest one. So 1 bar will represent this P1. 1 bar is P1. Which is the highest pressure? Highest pressure is 2.2 bar. So highest pressure means P3. So this 2.2 bar represents P3. And which is the intermediate one? That is P2. So P2 will represent the intermediate pressure. Okay. Now simply we will convert this bar into kilopascal. Okay. So 1 bar is 100 kilopascal. 2.2 bar means it will be 2.2 into 100, which will be equal to 220 kilopascal. And 1.6 bar means 1.6 into 100, which will be equal to 160 kilopascal. Okay. So this much things we have got, and one more thing it is given, that is mechanical efficiency is 80%. Okay. So mechanical efficiency equal to 80%. 80% means it is 0.8. So this much things it was given in the question. And here all the pressures we have got. Lowest pressure is 100, means in this line the pressure is 100 kilopascal. Highest pressure is 220 kilopascal. So here in the highest pressure, the highest pressure is 220 kilopascal, and the intermediate pressure is 160 kilopascal. This intermediate pressure becomes 160 kilopascal. And this for this process 1 to process 2, it is isentropic process or adiabatic process. So we can apply the formula PV to the power gamma equal to constant. Okay. So this much things was given, and we have to calculate the vane efficiency, the efficiency of the vane rotor compressor, and we have to calculate the power output. So these two things we have to calculate over here. So first we will start with the power required to run the vane compressor. How much power it will require to run the vane compressor, that we are going to calculate first. So first point, we will calculate power required to run the compressor. How much power will require to run the compressor? Okay. So we have, it is given in the question, mechanical efficiency is 80%. So what do you mean by mechanical efficiency? For a compressor, mechanical efficiency is indicated power divided by brake power. This is the formula of mechanical efficiency. Okay. So what do you mean by this brake power? This brake power is nothing but whatever it is mentioned in the question. Power required to run the compressor means externally how much power we have to give to the compressor in order to run it. Okay. So in the question they have basically asked to calculate the brake power. This power required to run the compressor is also called as brake power. Okay, and how to calculate this indicated power? Indicated power means what is the actual power we are getting from the compressor. Okay, so from this compressor, what is the actual power we are getting? So yesterday only we have done this calculation. I will show you. Yeah, we have done this calculation yesterday. What is the total power? This total power, whatever you are watching, W1 plus W2. Okay, so this total power, it is nothing but the indicated power of the compressor. Okay, we have W1. So for this constant volume process, we have W1. And for this adiabatic process from 1 to 2, we have W2. So if we will add W1 plus W2, whatever I have written here, total work input, that is W1 plus W2. This W1 plus W2, it will indicate the indicated power of the engine. Okay, so that power only we are going to calculate over here. So here we will calculate the indicated power, that is first we have to calculate the indicated power of the compressor. Indicated power of compressor. Okay. So what is this indicated power of the compressor? This is W1, that is a total power, W1 plus W2. Indicated power of the compressor means what is the total power or total work we are getting from the compressor. Okay. So during this process from point 1 to point 2, here we are getting suppose work done W2, and from this process point 2 to point 3, here we are getting the work done suppose W1. Okay. So if we add W1 plus W2, then it will give us the total indicated power. Okay. So first we will calculate what is W1 and what is W2. Okay. So first we will calculate work done at constant volume. Work done at constant volume, that is W1. Okay, so what is the formula of W1? What is work done at constant volume? Which is constant volume process? This process 2 to process 3. This is constant volume process. Okay, so for this constant volume process, what is the work done formula? Suppose in this the volume is, okay, suppose here the volume is V2. In this process, suppose the volume is V2. So the work done formula is V2 into what is the pressure difference? Highest pressure is P3, lowest pressure is P2. So pressure difference is P3 minus P2. Okay. So pressure difference is P3 minus P2. Okay. So this formula you will apply to calculate the work done at constant volume. Okay. So now what is the value of P3? P3 is already given 220 kilopascal. What is the value of P2? P2 also we have 160 kilopascal. But what about this V2? This V2 is not given in the question. V1 is given, but V2 value is not given in the question. So can you tell me how to calculate V2? V2 means in this process, what is the volume? In process 2 to 3, it is a constant volume process. Volume at point 2 is equal to volume at point 3. Now, how to calculate volume at point 2? In the question, P1 they have given and V1 they have given, because this means pressure at point 1 and volume at point 1 they have given. P1 and V1 they have given. At point 2, they have given P2. Okay, but we have to calculate what is V2, means at the point 2, what is the volume we have to calculate. So from this given data, can you tell me, and by watching this PV diagram, can you say me how to calculate V2? Because in the question V2 is not given, only V1 is given. So how to calculate V2? Can anybody guess? At point 1, P1 is given, V1 is given in the question. At point 2, only P2 is given, 160 kilopascal. V2, we do not know at point 2. So how to calculate volume at point 2? Process 1 to 2 is the adiabatic process or isentropic process, which follows the equation PV to the power gamma equal to constant. So how to calculate volume at point 2? P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. No, it is not right. Whatever you have written, P1 V1 equal to P2 V2, it is for isothermal process. Okay, because we have ideal gas equation PV equal to MRT. If mass is constant, R is always a universal gas constant. If temperature is constant means it should be isothermal. In isothermal process, we have temperature equal to constant. In that case, this right hand side, everything is constant. Okay, if everything is constant, we can write PV equal to, this right hand side is constant, so PV equal to C we can write. If PV equal to constant, then we can write P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2, 305, whatever you have to. Okay, if point 1 to point 2, if it is a isothermal process or constant temperature process, then we can apply this one, P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. But what is this point 1 to point 2? Point 1 to point 2 is a isentropic process, which follows PV to the power gamma equal to constant. That's what I have written here. Okay, so for point 1 to point 2, since PV to the power gamma equal to constant, here PV to the power gamma equal to constant. If PV to the power gamma equal to constant, then we can write P1 V1 to the power gamma is equal to P2 V2 to the power gamma. This formula we can apply. Okay, P1 V1 to the power gamma is equal to P2 V2 to the power gamma. So P1 is already given in the question, V1 is also given in the question, P2 is also given in the question, gamma value is 1.4. Okay, by putting all this value from this equation, this V2 value we can calculate. Okay, in this way we will get the value of volume at point 2. This is simple mathematics. Okay, x into y equal to constant. So we can write that implies x1 y1 is equal to x2 y2. Okay, so these things we are going to implement over here and we will get the answers. Okay, so for this pressure and volume also we are going to apply the same things what I have just now discussed. So we will write here, since process 1 to 2, process 1 to 2, which is process 1 to 2, this one is point 1 to point 2. I am talking about this process. Since process 1 to 2 is adiabatic, so it follows PV to the power gamma equal to constant. If PV to the power gamma equal to constant, then we can write P1 V1 to the power gamma is equal to P2 V2 to the power gamma. That implies we will put simply all the value. What is P1? P1 is 100 kilopascal. So in place of P1, we will write 100 into, what is V1? V1 is 6 meter cube per minute, which is equal to 0.1 meter cube per second. Okay. So in place of V1, we will write 0.1 whole to the power gamma value is 1.4 is equal to P2. P2 value is 160 kilopascal. So P2 is 160 kilopascal into V2. We don't know because this V2 only we have to calculate. So V2 to the power, again this gamma is 1.4. Now you solve this equation and tell me what is the value of V2 we are getting. We will get in meter cube per second. What is V2 we are getting from this equation? You just solve it and tell me the answer. 0.0714. 0.0714 we are getting. 0.0714 meter cube per second. Okay. Now once we got V2 value, then this V2 value we will put in this equation. Okay, and we will calculate. We can calculate the value of W1. So what is W1? W1 equal to V2 into P3 minus P2, which is equal to, what is V2? 0.0714, 0.0714 whole into, what is P3? P3 we have 220 kilopascal. P3 is 220 kilopascal minus, what is P2? P2 is 160 kilopascal. 160 kilopascal. Now if we solve this work done we will get in kilowatts. Yes. What is W1 once you calculate and tell me. How much we are getting here? W1 4.284 kilowatt. Okay, so here we are getting work done equal to 4.284 kilowatt. Okay, so this is the work done at constant volume process we have got. Means which work done? Okay, from 0.2 to 0.3, whatever the work done is there, that is W1. So we have just now calculated. Okay, and how much it is? W1 value we have calculated 4.284 kilowatts. Right? This is one type of work done. Now we are going to calculate the second work done. Second work done means from 0.1 to 0.2, whatever the work done we have, that we are going to calculate. Okay, from 0.1 to 0.2. Second work type of work done is work at adiabatic process. Adiabatic or isentropic process. Isentropic process, that is from 0.1 to 0.2. Okay, so which is nothing but, here we are going to calculate W2. So for W2, what is the formula? Already we have discussed. The formula is gamma divided by gamma minus 1, P1 V1 whole into P2 by P1 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma minus. So this is the formula that we are going to implement. Okay, so that implies what is gamma? Gamma value is already 1.4 divided by gamma minus 1 means 1.4 minus 1 into what is P1? So already it is given in the question. P1 is 100 kilopascal. So P1 we will write 100. What is V1? V1 is 0.1 meter cube per second. 0.1 meter cube per second whole into what is P2 and P1? P2 is 160 kilopascal, P1 is 100 kilopascal. P2 is 160 kilopascal, P1 is 100 kilopascal whole to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. 1.4 minus 1 divided by 1.4 minus 1. So now you just solve it and the answer we will get is 5.0302. Okay, 5.0302 will get. So this work done we will get 5.0302 kilowatts. Okay, so for constant volume process, what is the work done? It is 4.284. For adiabatic process, what is the work done? 5.0302. So once again, here once again I am drawing the diagram, that PV diagram, so that you will get clear which work done I am talking about. Suppose this is pressure axis, this is volume axis. This is the suction process. This is 0.0. This is 0.1. This is 0.2. 2 to 3 is constant volume process. Okay. So here from 0.1 to 0.2 in this process, what is the work done? That is W2 we have taken, because for adiabatic process we have taken the work done W2 for process 1 to 2. And how much we have got? 5.0302. This work done is 5.03 kilowatt. Similarly, for process 2 to process 3, here suppose this constant volume process, the work done is W1. So for constant volume process, what is the work done we have got? W1 4.284. So here W1 we have got 4.284 kilowatts. Okay. So now the total work done, which is also called as indicated power, is equal to W1 plus W2, which is equal to, what is W1? 4.284. 4.284 plus W2 is 5.0302. Okay, so if we'll add all these two things, how much we are getting? 9 point something we will get. 9.3142. Okay, so we are getting 9.3142 kilowatts. Okay, so this is the total power we are getting. This is the total indicated power. Here we are getting 5.03 kilowatt in this isentropic process, and here in this constant volume process we are getting 4.284 kilowatt. So total work done, that is the total indicated power, is W1 plus W. 4.284 plus 5.03 will get 9.3142. Okay, so this is the indicated total indicated power we have got. This indicated power we have calculated. What is mechanical efficiency? Mechanical efficiency is also given in the question. Okay, mechanical efficiency is 80%. Mechanical efficiency is 80%. So from this formula, this brake power we can calculate. This brake power is nothing but the power required to run the compressor. Okay, so now we'll apply this formula. Mechanical efficiency equal to indicated power divided by brake power. So mechanical efficiency in the question it is given 80%. Okay, so we'll write here 80% means 0.8 is equal to, what is indicated power? Total indicated power we have got 9.3142. 9.3142 divided by brake power. Okay, now simply solve this one and we will get the brake power of the engine. How much we are getting? 80% of 9, 0.8, 11 something, 11 point something will come. How much we are getting here? Kilowatts. 11.6427. we are getting brake power as 11.6427 kilowatts. Okay, so this is the brake power we have calculated. So this is the answer for the first question. This power requirement. Okay, this we have calculated. Power required to run the compressor. That is the brake power we have already calculated. Okay. Second thing is we have to calculate its efficiency. Vane efficiency we have to calculate. So in second part, we are going to calculate the vane efficiency. Vane efficiency. What is the formula to calculate vane efficiency? Yesterday we have already discussed. So vane efficiency is the ratio between work input at constant volume. Constant volume means suppose here the work done is W1 and in this process suppose the work done is W2. So the vane efficiency formula is W1 divided by W1 plus W2. Okay, W1 means work input at constant volume divided by total work input. Okay, so this formula we will apply to calculate the vane efficiency, right? So vane efficiency, that is efficiency of vane, equal to W1 divided by W1 plus W2. Okay, so which is equal to, what is W1? That is that constant volume. Okay, at constant volume, what is the work done we have got? 4.284. Okay, in this constant volume process 2 to 3, here the work done we have got 4.284. So we'll write here 4.284 divided by total one is W1 plus W2. So W1 is 4.284 plus W2. W2 means this one. Work done during isentropic process or adiabatic process, that is 5.0302. 5.0302. 5.0302. Now simply solve this one, we will get the efficiency of vane. It will be 45.99%. 45.99%. So this is the solution for the second question. That is the efficiency of vane. Okay. So in this way, we have to calculate the brake power or the power required. This brake power is nothing but power required to drive the compressor. Power required to run the compressor. Okay. So in this way, we have calculated the brake power or power required to run the compressor. And here, in this way, we have calculated the vane efficiency. 45.99%, or it is approximately equal to 46%. So the only important point is to calculate this V2 value. So to calculate this V2 value, this one you have to apply. Okay, this is the relationship between pressure and volume for a adiabatic process. And what is the relationship between pressure and temperature? The relationship between pressure and temperature is T2 by T1 is equal to P2 by P1 whole to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Okay, so these relations you have to remember. This is the relationship between temperature and pressure for a adiabatic process. This is the relationship between pressure and volume for a adiabatic process. Okay, so from this formula we can calculate the volume. Once we got the volume, we can calculate the work done at constant volume process. Then we will calculate the work done at isentropic process. And if we will add W1 plus W2, then we will get the total work done or indicated power. Now, once we got indicated power, mechanical efficiency it is given in the question. So brake power we can calculate 11.6427 kilowatt. Now once we got all these things, then the vane efficiency directly will apply the formula W1 divided by W1 plus W. W1 means work done at constant volume process, this process. W2 means work done in adiabatic process or isentropic process, this process. So W1, W2 already we have calculated, just put the value, you will get the answer. Okay. So normally they have not asked any question from this vane type compressor in the previous year, but if they will ask, okay, in this way you have to solve the questions. Okay, write down the given data, then one by one you have to calculate. Related to this problem, if anybody is having any doubt, you can ask. You have 1 minute. Okay. Now we have the last topic for this rotary compressor. The last type of compressor, that is the screw compressor, that we are going to discuss now. Right. So this is the last type of compressor that we will discuss, that is screw compressor or Leeson compressor. This question also they have not asked, but we should prepare. So the screw compressor, why the name is screw compressor? In the exam they can ask regarding the screw compressor, or they can ask Leeson compressor also. Both are same. Okay. So here you can see this something, this screw type shapes are there. You can see the cross section. So this cross section you can see. Okay. So due to the cross section, due to this cross section, they have named it as screw type compressor. So this comes under the positive displacement compressor. It is a category of positive displacement compressor. Okay. It contains two helical lobe rotors. Okay, so you can see this as a helical shape. These rotors are in helical shape. Okay, you can see these are the helically shaped rotors. Okay, and these parts are called lobes. This is one lobe. This is second lobe. This is third lobe. These are the lobes. Okay, with a small gap or clearance in between them. So you can see among the lobes. Okay, so if this you will consider as one lobe, and this you will consider as the second lobe. So very small gap is there in between this. Okay. Some clearance they have given, so that there will be less friction. Okay. Third point, both the rotors rotate at different speed due to different number of lobes on them. Okay, so it is not mandatory that this rotor and this rotor, both the rotor will move at same speed, because the number of lobes in this rotor may be more or less as compared to the number of lobes on the second rotors. Okay. If number of lobes are different, then based upon it, the speed of those rotors will be also different. Okay. Next point, during the rotation of the rotor, air is drawn in the suction port to fill the gap between both the rotors. Okay. So here in this side, from this side, air will enter, that is the suction part, or that is this is the inlet part. Okay. So there will be there in between these two rotors, there will be a very small gap, as you can see here, this gap. There will be a very small gap in between the rotors. Okay, I am talking about this gap. So at the inlet, when air will enter from this side, the air will trap in between the gap between these two rotors. Okay, and the air, since the volume of the air will gradually reduce, so already we know pressure is inversely proportional to volume from ideal gas equation. If volume will reduce, then simultaneously its pressure value will increase. Okay, so this is the exact mechanism behind the screw compression. So the air will enter from this side, and since there is a very small gap or very small clearance between the two lobes, so the volume of air will gradually reduce. The air will compact it. And when the volume will reduce, its pressure will correspondingly increase. Okay, and we can be able to compress the air, and then we will supply this to the receiver. Okay, so that's what I have written here. Now the air is compressed due to reduction in volume between the lobes. Just now we have discussed. Okay, between the lobes, since the gap is very small, so air will be compressed due to reduction in volume. Okay, and finally after the compression, the air will leak through the discharge port. Okay, so these are the discharge port. This is the discharge port. Okay, so in this direction air will enter. In between the two rotors there is a very small gap where the air will get compressed, and through this discharge port or through this discharge pipe the air will be supplied to the receiver part. Okay, so various application we can see for this screw compressor. It used in refrigeration and air conditioning, pneumatic conveying system also. Like that, some various industrial application we can see for the screw type compressor or Lissom compressor. Okay, so some 2-3 marks question they can ask from this, but till now they have never asked any question related to this screw compressor or Lissom compressor. Okay, but since it is there in your syllabus, I have just given some brief idea regarding this screw compressor. Okay, so till now we have studied regarding 3 types of compressor. Okay, so we have studied regarding 3 types of compressor. The first one is root compressor. Second one we have studied vane type compressor, and third one is screw compressor. Okay, sometimes in the question they are asking what are the different. So all these 3 comes under rotary compressor. Okay, so sometimes they are asking this question, what are the different classification of rotary compressor? Okay, so in that way you have to write regarding these 3 types of compressor, and you have to give some brief idea regarding the definition and working principle of these 3 types of compressor. Okay, so once quickly I will show you the syllabus copy, and then we will complete the class. So here we have discussed regarding all these 3 types of rotary compressor. Root blower compressor we have already covered, which is the most important one. Lots of time they have this question related to this root blower compressor. And yesterday we have completed this Van Shield compressor, and today we have completed this Lissom compressor. This Lissom compressor is also called screw compressor. Okay, we have studied regarding the mechanical details and principle of working, how it will work, and we have also discussed regarding the efficiency of these two types of compressor. For this Lewis compressor, there is no derivation for efficiency. It is not there in your book. Okay. Only efficiency problem they are asking from this root blower compressor. And today one efficiency problem we have done from this Van Zyl compressor also. Right? So that's all about today's class. Whatever we have discussed today, all the notes and everything I will share in the group. Right? So once you go through it, if you are getting any doubt, feel free to ask. Have a nice day.